Hello there. In a bid to get the British public on side with their protests, Just Stop Oil might start slashing works of art. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. That group of eco-loons, Just Stop Oil, is getting upset with you, the public, for not being as outraged as they are while you try to go about your lawful day. Talking to Sky News, one protester, Alex de Koning, said his group were finding it hard to get the public on side with them. Well, there's a surprise. And also that they might have to follow the suffragette lead when they violently slashed paintings in order to get their messages across. And he went on to say that it could potentially come to that in the future. They really know how to make friends and influence people, don't they? Not. And if they do start engaging in that sort of activity, then the calls for Just Stop Oil to become declared a proscribed organisation and placed on the terror list and banned would only increase. A former Tory Justice Minister, Gareth Johnson, said in the last set of PMQs that those in the group are not protesters but are criminals, and asked the PM Rishi Sunak to make Just Stop Oil a proscribed organisation, like the 78 organisations like Al-Qaeda that are already proscribed under the Terrorism Act 2000, so that they can be treated as the criminal organisation they actually are, he said. Now the eco-loons claim they have the right to do all of this because they are fighting for their lives. Totally missing the point that many people will really be fighting against the cold for their lives this winter because we're not making energy as cheap as possible by making the most of our own gas and oil while we rebuild our nuclear capability. Wind and solar do not provide energy in a continuous and sustainable enough way. In the meantime, just keep arresting Just Stop Oil protesters, refuse them bail in case they immediately reoffend, and then lock them up. So, the Labour-run Wandsworth Council in London has become the first to set up speed cameras to find motorists exceeding the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. And if they do get caught, they'll get a £130 penalty charge notice. But as this will not be enforced by the police, then there will be no points on the licence, there will be no opportunity to go on a speed awareness course instead of paying the fine, and the fine can be halved if paid on time. On top of that, the personal details of drivers caught speeding will not be shared with the police, and the money collected will be used for road transport infrastructure, we're told. Now, this is a pilot scheme and was put in place on 2 roads because of numerous complaints about speeding. And in a recent traffic survey, 52% of drivers exceeded the 20 mph speed limit on one road, Wimbledon Park Road. And the new speed camera system has been put in place using a civic enforcement procedure as opposed to using the police criminal route. And it uses a Home Office approved and calibrated speed camera that has type approval for speeds of between 20 mph and 140 mph. And as you would surmise, if this pilot scheme proves to be successful, it will be rolled out across further parts of the borough and probably be snapped up by other London boroughs too. And how long before every council in the UK has a system as well? Now, if 52% of people break the law, then doesn't that mean it's a bad law? Just a thought. More cameras about the place. Oh goody. And the war on the motorist continues. Now, how about a bit of post-Brexit Big Bang? The City Minister, Andrew Griffith, has hinted that a finance sector Big Bang 2.0 could be triggered by changing the rules that govern the ring-fencing of banks' retail and investment arms. Relaxing these ring-fencing rules would, said the Minister, make Britain a better place for banks to operate. Ring fencing was introduced in the wake of the credit crunch to keep the retail arm of a bank completely separate from its investment arm, to stop retail customers' money from being used and lost via the bank's investment arm. But this tends to stifle smaller banks, especially those with limited investment operations. So the rules could be relaxed for the smaller banks with limited investment operations, so freeing up capital and reducing costs for them, hopefully to the benefit of customers, and enable more investment in infrastructure. But this is bankers we're talking about, and they love their bonuses, don't they? So, Nicola Sturgeon goes to address a zero-tolerance meeting about ending male violence against women, and the event organisers tell attendees beforehand, "We wish to create a safe and supported environment for all our guests, and so have asked all participants to support us in this aim by refraining from discussion of the definition of a woman and single-sex spaces in relation to the Gender Recognition Act." But I do have to ask, with Scotland's new self-identifying gender plans, doesn't it make it absolutely crucial that the word woman is defined? I mean, the next time someone talks about a gender pay gap survey, we need to say which genders we're talking about and then have a definition of each, don't we? Otherwise the numbers are meaningless. Now, one attendee decided to ignore the advice from the event organisers and went straight for the Sturgeon political jugular by heckling Scotland's First Minister, saying, "Shame on you. You've fomented this culture in Scotland that basically tells women they are bigoted for standing up for women's rights. I see you, and thousands of women around Scotland see you as well." And Sturgeon's response was to apologise for the interjection and say she didn't want to shut down the freedom of expression, despite the message from the organisers. Now, J.K. Rowling, who, as you will know, has strong views on these issues and has sported a T-shirt saying "Nicola Sturgeon, Destroyer of Women's Rights," has sent out a message asking if anyone knows who the heckler was, as she would like to send her a crate of something to thank her, and she tweeted, "Scenes. In spite of all careful precautions, the First Minister has been accidentally exposed to some freedom of speech. Heads will surely roll. If nobody's yet sent that heckler a crate of whatever her favourite tipple is, do please send me her details." Turns out someone who met her afterwards says she doesn't drink, but might appreciate a crate of coffee. Now, one thing about all of this that is unclear to me is that this self-gender ID is a Scottish law initiative. What happens if they travel out of Scotland to, say, Russia, China, or Saudi, or even the US, or even England? What would their legal gender assignment be then? And that's a serious question. Remember, they would have United Kingdom passports. What goes on those? And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.